So coming to the stage as our first guest on Studio NYC, let's give a warm welcome for Caps. Caps, thank you for joining us. Thank you for joining us.
Thank you for having me. Thank you.
Definitely, definitely. So, welcome. You're definitely the first person to grace the stage of Studio NYC. So you definitely have been with us through our Mix 103X days, and you're here continuing with us.
Absolutely.
So I was speaking to Caps briefly before the show began, and he was telling me that he has a few exciting projects going on. So now Caps is going to take the time to just talk to us about what's going on. So new performances, new singles. Fill me in on everything that's going on right now.
Well, right now, we're finishing up a project that I previously tried to get off the ground last year, entitled Travesty. So basically, we're doing that. We went away from that. I had some personal things that were going on in my life, so I had to, put those things to the side and put my energy there. But now, those things are taken care of, so now we're putting our energy back into the music. So that will be out hopefully early next year. We have 2 singles on iTunes. One is My Life, My Story, which was I think it was released 2 years ago, if I'm not mistaken. That was like a song that was just basically talked about, your trials and tribulations and how you can basically turn that negative stuff into a positive thing. And then we had Five Borough Fever, which that video is on YouTube. You should check it out. It's just basically a tour of the city. Some spots I went to, some spots I ate at. So it gets like a very authentic New York feel. And then we're just basically rounding out the year with the Caps, with the freestyle for the B, freestyle instrumental with Common, which I performed at the last mix show. So those visuals will be up and running soon, hopefully, and that song will be available on SoundCloud, on that type of outlet. So we got that and another freestyle in the works to end out the year, and then hopefully that propels us into the next year, and hopefully we keep that engine running,
See, it's definitely safe to say that Caps has no gaps. He's continuously keeping the consistency. And I want to talk to you more about Travesty. I want to ask you, what is the inspiration and what is the theme that surrounds your new project, Travesty?
Well, first of all, like my music, I feel like is a telling tale, kind of like cinematic. So it's always telling a tale. It's always touching on a particular subject. And it's basically informing people about what's going on. That's more of my route. A lot of artists that I looked up to and I listened to when I was growing up, they had that ability. I mean, they also had the ability to do other type of songs, but that was like their main, the main focus of their music. The Ice Cubes, the Chuck D's, the Tupac Shakurs, the Commons, the Scarfaces of the world. T.I. is a very talented guy, and I think that he touched on those type of things too. So those were the type of artists that I listened to, NWA and stuff like that. Like those guys really, set that bar. So we're trying to basically just tell the story about how things are now. Music is, it's lost touch, especially with our community. You know what I mean? Like we're people of color, and I just feel like the music now that's being pushed is just takes that negative tone on us, man. It's all about misogyny. It's all about using drugs. It's only highlighting what's negative about us. I mean, look, you had Motown. Motown was about love. Motown was about heartache, those type of things. And yeah, they touched on social issues too, but they also highlighted the positives about our community. And I think that we have to get back to that. We as artists have to be responsible, and we have to get back to that. We have to give. It's like if you have a meal. You got your 3 courses, and within that meal, you have different implements in your meal. Like you can't just have steak. You can't just have veggies. You have to have everything. And I think that we've gotten away from that. And we as the artists are the only guys that can take responsibility for that. So Travesty is basically touching on those type of things.
So I definitely think that here on this show, it's always a reoccurring theme of how good and how influential music used to be compared to how it isn't. And before we go, I just want you to just tell us, what do you think that you and other artists can do differently that isn't being done? Like, what can we do right now today to bring back that same positive storytelling that hip-hop once originally had?
Well, I think that the first thing we have to do is take responsibility for the material you're putting out there. And you also have to keep in mind who's listening. you know, this influences a vast age range. You know, you're talking about high school level, elementary school level, up to early college age. So you have to keep that in mind. Like, you know, artists are supposed to be reporting about what's going on in the world. And yeah, people go out, they party, they have fun. I mean, everybody does. Everybody kicks it, they have fun. But at the same time, that's not the only thing that affects your life. So why is that the only thing you're reporting in life? Like, why are you only reporting the lavishness? Why aren't you highlighting the struggle along with it? And I think that that's what we have to start doing. And we as the artists have to be accountable for that. You know, we have to be better artists. We have to be, you know, you have to be in love with the craft. And that craft all have elements. I mean, you look at Wu-Tang, you look at De La Soul, you look at Tribe Called Quest, you know, you look at, I mean, Chuck D was the first guy that taught me about, you know, Jim Crow and that kind of stuff. That stuff is not even being taught in schools. And these are things that affect us, that we're not even, you know, we're not even being privy to. We're not even, you know, they're not including our history. These guys, we should be doing that for our community. The other thing we should be doing is investing back into the community. Mm-hmm. You know, we should be educating, you know, and that doesn't have to be a money thing, that's a time thing. You know, before I started rapping, I used to work in a recreation center. So I know, and I mean, I've worked with rich spoiled kids, and with 2 houses, with 2 family homes, and I've seen kids that didn't have any family dynamic, and you know, you were the only outlet for them. So we have to be more receptive to that. We gotta find out what the community needs, and you gotta do your best to promote that and get that flourishing, man. That has to be a thing within us, and I feel like we're getting away from that. Our ancestors didn't do any of this stuff and put their lives on the line to do that, to watch us just, you know, wither it away. And it's cheap and it's sad, to be honest.
So I definitely agree with everything Caps is saying here. So in short, what he's really saying is, if you're an artist, you have a voice, and you have a responsibility to use that voice productively, and you have to positively show what's going on in the community, and you have to positively uplift and change. So I want to thank Caps definitely for coming through and just giving us some knowledge.
Thank
but
you.
Before we go, Caps is going to allow you to follow him on social media. He's going to give you every little bit of details about his upcoming project and how you guys can support. So Caps, the floor is all yours.
You can follow me on Twitter, Instagram, Facebook, Caps and VP Music, all one word, no underscore. Caps and VP Music. You could find 5 Borough Fever and My Life, My Story on iTunes for 99 cents. I'm sorry I'm making you guys come out of your pocket. And that's another thing. Not for nothing, we got to stop giving up our catalogs for free. We got to start making we have to start making the listeners invest in us so that we can invest in them. You know what I mean? So go out there, 99 cents download. It's cheaper than a slice of pizza. And it's definitely more sustenance than that. And you could also watch 5 Borough Fever on YouTube. Get the views up. Like, share, support. If you don't like the music, get on there and hate. I don't care, man. But we gotta do this together, man, as a community. Thank you. And thank you, StudioNYC. Thank you, man. I appreciate it.